I know we've been waiting for a sequel for a really long time, but do you really need these? One of the biggest grail Jordan 1s of all time were the two Union Jordan 1s that dropped back in 2018, the Storm Blue and the Black Toes. I can't believe that was 7 years ago already, but we finally have a follow-up. Were these worth the wait, or are these a pass? We'll try to answer that and more in this video. I will be reviewing the Jordan 1 Union LA Chicago Shadow. So these did release first at Union before getting a wider release on Sneakers app a few weeks later. And from what I read about this shoe, if you were in the LA area, then these weren't actually too difficult to get, especially if you did enter into the in-store raffle over at Union. I noticed a lot of you guys who followed me getting a W from that release. The stock numbers for this shoe did seem to be higher than most other collabs. And if we look at prices right now on the secondary market, the prices are, in all fairness, pretty low for this shoe, considering how high profile of a collab this is. Most sizes are going for under $400 at the time of me making this video. Jordan Brand has had a pretty clear strategy, it seems, so far in 2025, trying to bring back the hype around this brand by reissuing some grails, like we will be getting the Jordan 4 Undefeateds and the Black Cat 4s later this year, and also giving us newer colorways of previous grails like these Union Jordan 1s. And personally, I am very happy about it. I like that Jordan Brand is actually listening to their consumers and giving us what we want, instead of giving us yet another non-OG Jordan 1 or Jordan 4 colorway. So I'll first give you a review of the shoe and then give you my opinion on whether or not these are worth the price. Let's start off with the box. So you once again get this Union and Jordan 1 collab box that you got on the first two pairs. Unfortunately, this is how my box showed up. Nike sent me a damaged box. You win some, you lose some, so this is definitely some bad luck. However, I did manage to actually get a W on the Sneakers app, so I'm not complaining too much. And the shoes themselves continue in the footsteps of the first two pairs, giving us yet another mismatched pair of Jordan 1s, mixing up two OG colorways, and this time you have the legendary Chicago colorway at the bottom and the shadows at the top. And you get some additional details on this pair, like for example, the leather used on the shoe. You can see along the edges there is like a yellowish color to it, which definitely gives the shoe a bit of a vintage feel. And also you can see this exposed stitching, which is done in blue, and it's right exactly where the split happens between the two colorways, almost like the shoe was sewn together. You also get the Union LA branding as usual with that yellow tab, and also the Wings logo. This time is an oversized logo. And also what's really good about this pair is the materials on this. The leather used on this is pretty much about as good as you can hope for a Jordan 1. It definitely feels like they've used some thicker than usual leather here. Not only does the leather feel great when you touch it, but honestly even visually it just looks like good quality leather. Really nice tumble leather used on the sail, the red and the gray portions of the shoe. And definitely I feel like the leather on the Union pairs is actually much better than the leather on the Lost and Found Chicago ones if you have one. Like, I honestly don't think the leather quality is even close between these two pairs. The Unions are just a lot better. And then as we move towards the ankle collar, I don't exactly know what this material is. It kind of feels like felt, but this black section here is very soft and also has a bit of a vintage feel. The shoes come with 3 different lacing options, and right out the box, all 3 of the laces are just put onto the first 3 lace holes. Now, even though I've never really been a huge fan of this whole mismatch look, what I do really like are these two-tone laces that the shoes come with. I think that's honestly my favorite part about the shoe. I love that they've chosen to do the laces in the same way that they've done the rest of the shoe, giving it 2 different colors, which is just a really cool look and not something you will get with any other Jordan 1. Out of the 3 different lacing options, my favorites are the ones that start off with sail at the bottom and then finish off with black at the top. Very clean look, but also I really like this other one which starts off at black and finishes up with gray at the top, because that gives you more of that classic Chicago colorway with the contrasting black laces. But I'm gonna be very honest right now, guys. Those yellow laces that the shoes come with, there is not one person that can convince me that those laces look good on this colorway. I think they look terrible on this shoe. Way to go take a classic colorway like the Chicago ones and turn turn it into the Ronald McDonald ones. I know everyone got different tastes, but I'm sorry, those laces are just not for me. I think they look hideous on this pair. The only time I've thought that the yellow laces look good on the Unions were on the Storm Blues, because the blue and the yellow actually contrast really well together. But on this one, in my opinion, it simply doesn't work. So I'm only definitely going to be sticking with either of these two lacing options here. For sizing on these, so I got them in my true size, which is a US 11, which is the same size I wear in every single pair of Jordan 1s. And happy to say that they fit perfectly in this pair as well. Absolutely no discomfort for me. I was thinking maybe because the leather is slightly more thick cut in this shoe that maybe the shoes will feel a bit tight, but that's not the case at all. Of course, nobody is really buying Jordan 1s because they're comfortable shoes. You're buying these because, well, they just look good. Now, are these worth the prices they're going for right now? Are these worth adding to your collection? Well, to me, the answer really depends on whether or not you own a pair of Lost and Founds. If you have these, then you don't need the Unions, in my opinion. You can skip them. I mean, look at these two shoes, guys. They are pretty much the same exact shoe. Also, I'm not someone who really wears tapered pants. All of my pants have either a regular fit or a baggy fit, so every time I wear a pair of 1s, the pants go over the top of the ankle collar, so no one's really even gonna know that these are a pair of Union 1s. They're just simply gonna look like Chicago's on my feet. So I can't really think of one reason why these shoes are a must cop if you already have a pair of Jordan 1 Chicagos. I also don't really get why Union LA chose the Chicago colorway for their latest release, considering that we just got the Lost and Founds 2 years ago. Instead of giving us these, I wish they actually gave us the sample pair that we saw pictures of, which was that UNC to Storm Blue colorway, which I actually think the yellow laces look fire on that one. I did ask you guys also on Instagram, if you have the Lost and Founds, do you really need these? And most of you guys responded, well, pretty much agreeing with me that you don't really need them. However, now if you don't own the Lost and Founds, then are these worth the price? In my opinion, yes, absolutely. These are then a 100% cop. I already mentioned about the quality. The quality on this pair is just way better than the Lost and Founds. And also, if we compare prices between these two shoes right now on StockX, they're honestly going for around the same. The Unions are going for maybe slightly a bit more, but it's relatively the same. So you're essentially getting the same colorway, except this one is a lot better quality, a lot more limited as well. To me, it's much more worth the money than paying resale for a pair of Lost and Founds right now. Also, if you compare what the first two colorways are going for right now, which I know it's not really a fair comparison since those shoes came out 7 years ago, it is still dramatically lower. So if you always wanted a pair of Union Jordan 1s, but they were a bit out of reach, then you really can't go wrong with these. Personally, and I know I'm in the minority when I say this, I was never really a fan of the 2018 pairs just because that whole mismatched color concept. I wasn't really blown away by it. I think it only works well in certain combinations. Like for example, I thought the Storm Blues were pretty nice. And also I think on the sample pair. But of course, I want to hear from you guys in the comments. What did you guys think about the Union LA Jordan 1 Chicago Shadow? Did you cop these? Did you pay resale for them? Shout out to my sneakers app once again. I talked about this in my last video. I don't know what's going on with my app right now, but it can't seem to lose. And also, of course, do not forget to hit that subscribe button if you want more sneaker content, because I'm dropping content every single week. And give me a follow on Instagram. That's where I'm dropping content on my stories almost daily. And also the links to my sneaker podcast, which is now available on video, that can be found in the description of this video as well. And thank you guys so much for stopping by and supporting my content. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.